Welcome back to the channel, guys. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check the video out. We are going to be talking about the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 4. More specifically, we're focusing on a new report that claims Sony is having such a struggle with PlayStation 5 demand that they have now decided to continue to produce more PS4 units throughout 2022, to whereas previously they were planning to discontinue PS4 production by the end of 2021. And to me, this is just very sad, right? I'm somebody who was fortunate enough to be able to get a PS5 at launch, and I've been very excited to kind of just honestly leave behind the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. However, I am very understanding of the fact that it's still incredibly difficult for most people to get their hands on these next-gen consoles or these current-gen consoles. And I understand why developers and publishers are seemingly not going to be abandoning the previous generation consoles anytime soon. But again, it doesn't make the situation any less sad, in my opinion, because I feel like this generation with the PS5 and the Xbox Series consoles is going to take longer than it normally would to really kind of, kick into full swing. But we're reading here from VGC where they say Sony has reportedly extended production of its last gen PlayStation 4 console as PlayStation 5 remains in scarce supply due to component constraints. That's according to a new report by Bloomberg, which claims that the corporation had planned to stop making PS4 consoles last year, but has now told assembly partners it will continue making the console through 2022. The decision will see the creation of around 1 million PS4 units this year, it's claimed, and offset some of the pressure on PlayStation 5 production, which requires more advanced chips. Increasing production will also help Sony negotiate better deals with manufacturing partners, according to Bloomberg's sources. So I do want to say this is a positive that we can take from this. Apparently, this is going to help Sony out when it comes to negotiations with their manufacturing partners. And, that's obviously a good thing, but still, this is just not a situation that I think any of us were expecting to see, play out this way. And certainly, as you can tell, Sony was not expecting to still be producing PS4s in 2022. Yet here we are. The article continues by saying a Sony spokesperson confirmed PS4 production will continue this year. Quote, "It is one of the best selling consoles ever, and there is always crossover between generations," unquote. Now, obviously, this is Sony trying to spin it into, more of a positive, like, oh yeah, why wouldn't we produce more PS4s? Of course we were going to produce more PS4s. It's one of the best selling consoles ever. And that's true. There's no doubt about that. But if you look at how much PS4 sales have slowed down, and just how much, insane demand there is for the PS5, it's pretty clear at this point that people are ready to move on. I mean, even people who have PS4s now who are looking forward to a lot of these games that are cross-generation, like Horizon Forbidden West and the upcoming God of War Ragnarok. And I also think Spider-Man Miles Morales is a good example as well. People want to play these games on the PlayStation 5. They don't want to play it on the PS4. And I think at this point, most people, not everybody, because yes, these consoles are expensive. Even if you are able to get your hands on one, they're not cheap. So I don't want to make it sound like everybody who wants one is able to get one, but a lot of people just don't want to play these games on the PS4. And anybody who is playing Horizon Forbidden West or God of War on their PS4, if they had the option to play it on the PS5, that's what they're going to choose. They see how everybody's enjoying this next-gen console, or now this current-gen console. I feel like I have to keep calling it next-gen, even though it's not, because that's kind of what it feels like. It feels like it's still that new, and just so few people who want it actually get it. And the craziest part about all of this, guys, is that the PS5 is the fastest-selling PS5 ever. It's actually, I believe, still outpacing the PS4, and Sony is barely managing to achieve this. It makes you wonder, what would Sony be able to do with the PS5 if they didn't have a supply issue? If they could just produce as many PS5s as they wanted to, you really have to wonder, just how well would this console be selling? But the reason why I think all of this is sad is because this just isn't normal, right? I mean, it says it right in the report that Sony was planning to discontinue the manufacturing of PS4 consoles, but because they're having such a hard time meeting the demand for the PS5, they're now going to continue PS4 production into 2022. The big question that I think everybody is left with at this point is, how long? How long can we expect developers and publishers, publishers such as Sony, to continue to support cross-gen? I think it's safe to say that 2022 will still be a year of cross-gen. Now, that's not to say that every single game will be cross-gen, but it seems clear to me that the majority of games will be cross-gen for this year. And so you now have to ask yourself, well, what about 2023? Are we actually going to see a situation where Sony is continuing to make cross-gen games in 2023? What about other, major third-party publishers? Are they going to continue to make cross-gen games into 2023? And I understand, again, why they're doing this, but I don't know. I hope that this doesn't become a lingering issue, when we get late into 2022 and eventually, make our way into 2023. I know I'm thinking ahead, but I remember covering this, around the launch of the PS5, and I would have never thought that I would be sitting here in January of 2022, well over a year from the PS5's launch, saying that, hey, apparently Sony's coming out here letting us know that they have to manufacture more PS4s because they can't really sell PS5s because they just can't make enough. So yeah, it'll be interesting to kind of watch how this unfolds. But as I said, it makes me a little bit sad because I was somebody who is, I still am somebody who's just very much enthusiastic about what we can get when we finally make the transition to next gen only. We leave behind the PS4, we leave behind the Xbox One, and we're just seeing developers take advantage of the PS5 and the Xbox Series consoles. I feel like it's going to end up being a while before we see that, unfortunately. It's going to be a while until this current generation really gets into full swing, but that's not to say that we won't have amazing games to enjoy before that. I'm not trying to make it sound like it's a hugely negative thing, but I think, most of us are at that point where it's like, okay, this is clearly going to linger and kind of stick around longer than I think anybody wanted it to. And just seeing this report about what Sony's choosing to do with PS4 manufacturing, I think that is pretty much a clear indication that it's going to be another year of cross-gen, and it might end up lasting a little bit longer than any of us were anticipating. So we'll have to see. It's worth noting, and this is where I'll end the video, Sony still has a ton of games they have left to announce, and I just have to ask myself how many of these games that Sony has left to announce that are planned for, either late this year or 2023, how many of these games are going to be cross-gen? I mean, we know a game like Spider-Man 2 isn't going to be cross-gen, that's PS5 only, and that's going to be one of the biggest games that Sony launches in 2023. That gives me hope that 2023 will be the cutoff, and when we finally get there, we don't have to worry about cross-gen anymore or games being tethered to these 2013 consoles. But that's going to do it for the video, guys. Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. I will be interested to see what you have to say. Leave the video a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the bell notification icon. And feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.